So I'm going to show you how I built a pretty obscene level of discipline and willpower. And I know this works because in the last 13 days, it's made me nearly $400,000. It's actually a little bit more than that with bank transfers. But I've learned how to become so disciplined and how to develop so much willpower for myself that if I want to do something, I will do it. And what that means is that I can shake my own hand, so to speak, and stick to my word to myself. So if I told myself, okay, Charlie, I command that you do, 180 workouts in the next 180 days, I would actually do it. And when you get to this point as an entrepreneur where you can basically just make a decision and something will happen, you unlock a serious new level, an echelon of wealth, happiness, success, and everything you could want. And the only way to unlock this superhuman power of being able to make a decision and then just knowing that with the elapsement of time that you're actually going to do what you promised yourself, you become very successful. Imagine if you could stick to your word. Imagine if every time that you told yourself you were going to do something, you actually bloody did it. How many times have you tried to start a habit or start a business or, stick to something? I mean, hell, you probably can't even go to bed on time. You can't even stay out of the pub on the weekends. You can't even delete League of Legends from your computer. You can't even stop touching yourself, for crying out loud. How the hell are you going to start and build a business? So what I'm going to do in this video is basically help you understand how I've done this for myself. And it wasn't until I developed this thing, this willpower and discipline thing, that I actually became a multi-millionaire and basically had financial freedom. Everything you want and more lies on the other side of the secret I'm going to share with you in this video. So what we can understand is that this stick man here represents you, okay? And there's really two parts to you. Here we have your mind, and here we have your body. Now, your ability to be disciplined or to have willpower is really about your relationship between your mind and your body. And the mind is basically your conscious entity. This is the thing that sets the goals that you want to go after. This is the thing that creates the to-do lists that you want to complete. And the body is essentially your body is a force of biology. And your body is basically trying to optimize for the least amount of pain possible, the least amount of energy expenditure possible, and a few other things that come into a conflict. And so what starts to happen is the mind is going to set tasks and goals, as you may well be aware, which could be 10k a month or 10% body fat or a pretty girlfriend. You're going to have these goals of things that you want to achieve. And the body is going to be like, don't really want to do that, mate, because I'd rather just sit and play League of Legends and, eat crisps and feel a little bit sorry for myself. This happens. And so I've got to the point now with my level of discipline where, for me, anything is just a decision. So, for example, if I wanted to become something very good with martial arts, I could just make a decision and I would do it. Now, obviously, it's practice and the elapsement of time for you to get good at anything. But the point I'm making here is that there comes a point with discipline where you can literally just make decisions and your body will just execute on them. There's no resistance, there's no impulse, there's no craving. It's like you just say to yourself, this is what I'm going to do, and then I'm done. I can give you an example. When I was younger, I used to play, it wasn't really when I was younger, but a couple of years ago, I started picking up some old bad habits of playing video games. I started doing it for a month, and then I just woke up one day and I just told myself, all right, that's enough, no more video games for the rest of your life, bang. And I haven't played a video game since. And so when you learn how to do that, you have ultimate control over yourself. So how do we actually do this? Well, what I like to imagine is that I'm shaking my own hand. Now, this sounds weird and it's not an innuendo, I promise, but what I like to do is I like to actually give myself a personal handshake. And this is where it comes in. So in order for you to do something, you have to make a decision to do it. And a lot of the time people say, oh, I'm going to try to quit video games, or I'm going to try and quit smoking, or I'm going to try and start a business. And what we can do is we can pull on the good old age wisdom of Yoda. He said that do or do not, there is no try. Do or do not, there is no try. You don't try to do things. You don't say to yourself, oh, I'm going to try and go to the gym, or I'm going to try and start a business. You have to tell yourself you're going to do it. There's a strong difference between someone that says they're going to try and someone that says they're actually going to do it. And what you need to do is you need to make a fully convicted, wholehearted, complete whole decision on the thing at hand. And so whenever I'm making a decision in my life around my willpower or discipline, or if I need to start learning a new behavior or getting rid of an old behavior, I just shake my own hand. For example, if I decided that I didn't want to smoke or something like that, I would just be like, okay, no cigarettes until the 5th of November. And then I just shake my hand, and you best know that until the 5th of November, I will not smoke. The problem is building yourself up to the point where that's possible is very difficult, and I'm going to explain how. So what you're trying to do here, if you want to achieve your goals and your tasks and everything, the mind and body need to be in a good place. You need to have a good relationship. And the problem that people have that start businesses is their mind sets tasks and goals and behaviors that is just way too tricky for the body. The body needs to level up, and it starts at level 1. So discipline, and willpower, you start at level 1, and just like a video game, you can get to level 99 and you can level up. When you get to level 99, it's just about deciding to do something and it's done, and your body doesn't even kick up a fuss. But most people are trying to slay level 99 dragons when their character is level 1. Primary example, right? Let's say that you've always been someone that's been really undisciplined. You can't even go to bed on time without scrolling on social media. You're not controlling what you eat. You vape, you're smoking, you're drinking, you're hanging out with people you shouldn't. Let's just say that you're not a disciplined person at all. Well, you might have a discipline level of 5, 5 out of a level 100. And the problem is starting a business or building a body or formulating a good relationship or trying to build a habit of reading books or something. These require high levels of discipline. These are high level activities. And so, for example, let's say that you start a video game and you're level 5 and there's 100 levels, and you try and rush straight to a level 100 boss. The level 5 is not going to slay the level 100 boss. And so what you're doing when you try to, the reason that your life falls apart when you try and set these huge goals and huge behaviors and you just end up regressing away from them is because you're going way out of your league and you haven't built yourself up yet. And so the best place to start, and I truly mean this, the best place to start is with level 1 behaviors. So for example, you want to start to try to find and formulate a relationship with yourself and your body where you can be honest. Now let me explain what this means. So I'm sure that if you said right now, if you shook your own hand and said, tomorrow morning I will make my bed, right? I know it's the whole, red pill, make your bed analogy, but it's a very simple analogy. You shake your hand and say, I will make my bed tomorrow. That is a level 1 discipline thing, right? It's not hard to do that. It's very simple. It requires very little time, very little energy. And what's going to happen is you're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to make your bed. And now you've ever so slightly re-engineered the mind and body relationship that you have, where the body has actually done something the mind has told it to do, because it was oh, whatever, it's not really that deep, I'll do it for the sake of the mind not feeling guilty or whatever. And what you want to try and do is you want to find lots and lots of these little patterns where you can shake your own hand and stick to your personal word. Because if you knew someone in your life, if you had a friend like this person, and this person was always telling you this is, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then they say, oh, I'm going to come and pick you up from here and I'm going to buy you this thing. But then if they never do any of it or execute any of it, you stop trusting them. And it's the same thing is true with your mind and your body and your own self. If you keep setting these grandiose, huge goals that simply are out of your level of disciplinary competence, what's going to happen is you're going to break your word to yourself over and over again, and eventually you're going to stop trusting your word. And so right now, you know that when you set a goal or when you tell yourself you're going to do something, that you're probably not going to do it. And so this is why people use words like try or maybe or I'm going to give it a go. Don't give it a go. The only reason you're saying you want to give it a go or that you want to try is because you don't believe that you're actually going to do it. And the reason you don't believe you're going to do it is because you've been going above your level of competence over and over again. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to foster discipline for starting a business or getting in shape or anything like that. I'm just saying that be very aware of this, and you want to look for micro trust where possible so you can rebuild your relationship with yourself and start to actually trust yourself and trust your word. I know right now that if I make a promise to myself and I shake my own hand, I will stick to that promise. And this is where it becomes extremely important, because then you have to be very, very, very careful about what you decide to do. Prime example, if I decided that I wanted to become a black belt in jiu-jitsu, I would go and do it. But it would take me 7 years of training, and I'd have to go every day, and it would take a lot of time. But I won't make that decision because there's only so much energy and time that I have, and I don't want that going into jiu-jitsu. As cool as the sport is, I've got other stuff that I want to do that I need to allocate my discipline. And so discipline is like a currency. Willpower is a currency. If you spend it everywhere, you're going to get nowhere. You want to pick 1, 2, 3 very, very specific things and channel all of your discipline and willpower into those things and just forget about everything else. And so, for example, I made a decision 3 years ago to never miss an upload on YouTube. And come hell, high water, COVID, burnout, product build, everything, my life sucking over the last 3 years for whatever reason, I've never missed a YouTube upload because I shook my own hand and said we will never, ever miss one unless it starts making sense to miss one, right? And what that means is when there's higher leverage activities than YouTube, I will work on those things instead of YouTube. And so that's what happens when you build high levels of discipline, is you can just shake your own hand because you trust yourself. If you shake someone's hand and you do a deal with someone, but every other time they've done a deal with you, after a week, they've turned around and stopped doing the deal, you're going to shake their hand with a rock behind your back. And I mean, you're not going to trust them. You're not going to believe their word. And a lot of people are in very bad relationships with themselves here because they don't believe their word. They don't trust themselves because they have seen themselves destroy this thing over and over again, purely because they tried to slay a dragon that was out of their level. Build it over time. That's how you do it. That's how I did it. This is making me pretty much like 100 grand a week. Goodbye.